Fourth-year environmental engineering major at Cal Poly, and I've had diabetes since I was 12, 7th grade.
Is there a story about when and like the time that you found out that you had type 1 diabetes?
Yeah, we were, actually my brother has diabetes as well. He got it when he was 7. He's 2 years older than me. So my family already knew the signs of having a high blood sugar. And when we were driving back from Arizona, we had to keep stopping because I had to go to the bathroom a bunch of times before we got home, and they tested my blood sugar and I was 350 or 400. And they caught it early enough to where I was in this like honeymoon phase where I was still kind of producing insulin, but I wasn't producing enough to where my blood sugar was around normal levels. So I was in the honeymoon phase for probably around 6 months.
How would you say this experience has impacted your life, like after your diagnosis? Like you said that it sounds like you have it pretty much under control with your insulin pump, but has there been specific challenges?
I'd say like the big things are incidences where my blood sugar goes really low and I pass out, or like incidences where I can't control like limbs and like stuff like that, where it kind of freaks you out a bit, and it kind of, you're like, okay, well, either I'm gonna die or I'm gonna, get out of this, and you kind of, I don't know, it gives you a different perspective on living, I think. Overall, I think it's just kind of, it makes you mature a bit faster, and I don't know, you kind of become more self-sufficient earlier on in life.
Could you describe what your day-to-day routine is like?
Yeah, I test it early in the morning before anything. I usually eat breakfast an hour later, bolus, give myself insulin with this guy, and then it's just a normal day. And I'll probably test again maybe after or like before lunch, unless I'm feeling weird, because there's some cases where I'll test 8 times in a day just because it's something's off, whether I'm not sleeping enough or I ate something yesterday, or stress, or like if I drink the night before or something like that, then your blood sugar can be kind of weird and you have to test a bunch more. Or I can go a whole day where I'm testing like 3 times, so it's
kind of varies.
Yeah, and you just adjust, and you get to the point where you can kind of feel it. You're like, oh, like I feel low, I should test, or like, oh, I feel like my blood sugar is running high today, like I should test more. And it's just a lot of kind of feeling or seeing how you feel and going off of that. Yeah.
You like to rock climb, right? And do you do any other kind of physical activity other than rock climbing?
Yeah, I surf, I rock climb. I was running for a while. I swim.
Super active.
Yeah, well, and it's hard too with like swimming and surfing because I can't take this out.
Exactly, yeah.
And it gives me insulin like constantly. So I used to surf for like 4 hours straight, and your blood sugar can go up pretty high in 4 hours without any insulin. So it's kind of inconvenient, but at the same time, it's like one of those things where you just learn to manage it.
So do you have like a certain meal that you have before you exercise or afterwards, or is it kind of just whatever you feel like?
I usually go like high carb before I surf and before I swim, and then afterwards just make sure I'm monitoring it for the next like couple of hours, because it's.
Have you learned more about nutrition specifically because of your diagnosis, or?
Yeah, when my brother first got diagnosed, they had to get him on a really strict carb schedule. So like, wake up, he'd have to eat 15 grams of carbs, lunch was 30, dinner was 45, something like that. And so she got him on a pretty strict diet, and when I got diagnosed, they had insulin pens which let you eat whatever you wanted. But since that was already kind of instilled with, because I would just eat whenever my brother ate, so it was like I was pretty much on the same diet plan. And
have you utilized any like resources to help you like gain insight on diabetes?
I had a really cool doctor growing up who was like, the guy was like the smartest guy I ever known, and he was huge. Like, just his knowledge base on diabetes and everything. Like, he could scare me into like doing things and just like rationalize everything that he was saying. And I don't know, I think that had a really big effect on me, huge. And my brother too, like, because we both seen each other kind of highs and lows, and literally. And yeah, and you just kind of, you see it and you're like, that's why, you know, you test a ton. I've taken a couple carb counting classes.
Okay.
Because just being able to like eyeball things is pretty crucial. Yeah, because you get like random food, or you go out somewhere and you've never been there before. You can't really just measure everything.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Being able to eyeball is pretty crucial. And
do you have any advice for other people who have type 1 diabetes who are struggling to manage it?
When I have like really rough patches where it's like my blood sugar is all over the place, I think it happened, the last time it happened was like last summer. It's just one of those things where you just have to eat the same thing, wake up at the same time, do the same stuff every single day for like 2 weeks, and really figure out like where you are as far as basal rates go, as far as those rates go, and how much carbs or carb ratios and correction factors and stuff like that. And you really have to dial those down, and then you can start, you know, branching out.
Thank you so much for letting us interview you.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.